Now we'll look in some detail about how you and your team can create shade cloth dome covers to help us in our mission in South Africa. The dome covers are made from between 60% and 80% shade cloth and should last about 15 years. These are stretched over strong PVC frames created in geodesic shapes to withstand wind, sun, heat, and other threats to plants.
Hello, this is Rick Gutierrez, and I thank you for participating in our Shade Cloth Dome Cover program here to help assist our mission in South Africa. These are components of a kit that I'll be distributing to people who are helping us throughout the United States. The dome covers that you make will last approximately 15 years and will be used for tree nurseries, for plant nurseries, and also for meeting places for Discovering God Together Bible groups and medical screening as well. Here's what comes in each kit. First, you have laminated sheets. These are the directions, the main scheme for the dome cover. This is a two-sided sheet which gives directions on how to make the dome covers. And I'm also going to make a video that will also show the process. This is a pentagon and a hexagon, which are the angles that are cut into each of these 4 pieces of PVC tubing. The red is the pentagon angle. This will only be used when you have 2 red pieces coming together in a triangle. The clear PVC pieces can take any color, and you'll understand better as we continue. Finally, you'll need some shade cloth. This is 60% shade cloth that I got from Amazon. 100 feet long, 5 feet 10 wide. It cost about $79. This would be suitable for what we're doing here. Looking at the diagram, you can see that there's multicolored triangles here. You'll also see that there's shapes like pentagons here and here. And you'll see that there's red lines, there's black lines, there's yellow lines, and there's blue lines. Those lines correspond to these pieces of PVC, which are marked with tape at their equator and measure a very specific length. These lengths are necessary to be very precise to fit together to make this dome tunnel stick to the ground and have the right shape. So my wife thinks that the ABW ladies are much more clever and experienced than I am, and you'll figure out a better way to do this. But I'm just going to show you the way that I use in South Africa. If you find that you can make a jig or a way of cutting the shade cloth that doesn't require this kind of apparatus, then please figure that out and get back to me with a better way, or just do it, whichever way you find best. But I'm going to show you what I do. To mark the shade cloth, we'll use a Sharpie oil pen. This is a white colored one. I find that yellow and orange work well also, but this is what I could get. And we'll be connecting the jig together using 8-inch cable ties. You'll need a space, a wide table like this, ideally. I've taken these 2 pieces of cardboard to make this table wider. Or you can put 2 tables together, a wide enough space to lay out your shade cloth and put your jig on it. Now we'll show how to assemble the jigs. Another thing that may come in handy are these jumbo wonder clips, which may be used for both attaching the jig to the shade cloth before we mark it and cut it. They look like this, and I've never used them, but we're going to try them today. I've used small clamps like this in South Africa, and if the jumbo wonder clips aren't strong enough, we'll use this today. We're going to select the 2 red sticks here and 1 black stick for the base. We're going to select the PVC tubing, which has 2 red ends, and then we're going to take 2 other pieces for the rest of our triangle. We're going to use these hub pieces in the center. We'll start by connecting the three pieces that make up the triangle, two reds and a black base. We take our red piece, we put it through the hole that has the red in it. We put this piece in. We take the cable tie, sharp tip down, put it through these two holes, bring it up through here, like this, put it back through the hole, the end of the cable tie, and cinch it up. This is going to be our workspace for cutting and marking of the shade cloth. And you can see our triangle, red, red, black, fits on the table like this pretty well. But you do need a little bit of space to work this. Pulling two tables together would work. Cut these ends of the cable ties. You want to lay your triangle out such that the longest leg of the triangle is on the side facing in along our shade cloth. So here the red are shorter than the black. So we're putting the black on the outside, the triangle's facing in, and we're going to rotate directions as we work down the shade cloth. Now we'll use our clamps to securely position the shade cloth on this. So what I do is I grab an end like this, and I grab it like that. We're leaving enough of a seam, really even this would be enough, but we're going to have this to start with. So I'm going to this end, grab it. I want it to be tight. Finally, we'll grit that one. So I've got, trying not to have slack in there. And there we've got our first piece laid out. Black and two reds. The vertex is facing in, and we're ready to mark it now. For this example, we're going to be marking triangle 30, 31, and 32. And what I like to do is I have the diagram. I always orient it facing up, and I make sure that the triangle I'm going to be making is oriented just like it would be in the diagram. So I'm going to have it facing up, and when we go over this in person, you'll see how it flows along. Doing this part right makes the sewing very easy. Now we're going to mark 30, 31, 32 in the right orientation. So my 30 is going to be here, like so. And I like to put a circle on them. 32 is going to be down here. And number 31 is going to be this here. "30, 31, 32, just like the diagram. To mark, we put a dot in the center. We go along the edge like this. Put a dot in the center. Go along the edge like this. Dot in the center. Go along the edge like that. Now we remove the clamps. Remove the jig. and we'll cut out this triangle. We're going to connect these lines. So when you cut it out, you want to leave a seam of about an inch on each side on the outside of the line. I like to do a round shape at the end here, at the end of where the two lines are. So I cut it out like this. Kind of like that. You're going to do better with a flatter table. This is kind of a rinky-dink table here. So you'll finish cutting out this triangle.
These diagrams are from the site called ziptiedomes.com, and that can be found on the internet. ziptiedomes.com. It's a site from Tennessee. This is the kind of shade cloth I use in South Africa. It's 25.5 meters. It's 80%, and it's 6 meters wide. I use my car as a off-leveling place, and here's the table that I use when I cut domes at home.
This is my Juki TL 2010Q, which is what I like to use. I've got it loaded with here upholstery thread, which is good stuff. Thick polyester upholstery thread, which is UV resistant. This is like Gutermann, good stuff. And on the bottom I've got loaded some other UV resistant polyester. It's important that the color for the top be brown to contrast this green so we can see what we're doing. We're going to try to connect these two triangles. They have 30s. Here's 30 here and 30 here, and notice the numbers are the same orientation. We're going to join the ends with the numbers facing the same way. We're going to look for the dot that marks the middle of where the hub is, and here's the two dots. See that? Dot, dot. We kiss them, and I like to connect them with a strong brace like this. That's one end. I go to the other end, suspend this in the air. There's the dot. There's the other dot. So these were lining up. Dot, dot, like this. Clap it. Then I'm going to go to see if they're lining up nicely, which they are. Then this line here is going to be the seam. I want to line it up with this. We'll clamp these. And then I'm going to use a safety pin here. Try to make sure it's going through the center of the line on both sides. So that's going through the center. That's on, see, both sides. I'm through the line. Bring it back through. Okay, it's centered. So that's looking in line nicely. Then we'll go to the middle of this part. It's going to be our seam. I use my hands to line it up like this. Take a safety pin. Drop that. And let's see if we're good on this side. Looking beautiful. So now, let me stretch this out. That's what we're looking at. This is one of the faces. So there we go. We've got it lined up 30 to 30. We're going to take a seat at our sewing machine and continue. Now we're going to line our piece up. What we're going to do is sew just along where the lines are. We're not going to connect the ends where the dots are, but just the two seam lines. Okay. So now we're going to insert the piece. We're just connecting the seam lines, and they should line up pretty well. I'm going to go first along the seam line here, and I usually start it a little bit on the slower side. Okay, so get some back stitches, then I'll speed it up. And I'll remove my holders. What's nice about these clamps is you can just hold the piece like this and feed it right along. So I'll feed it in, then I'll take the next clamp off, hold it straight, feed it, take our safety pin out. Now I've just got the clamp at the end. I just have to be careful to keep the seam line straight as I feed it. Then I'll remove it, and I still need to make a good secure reverse stitch at the end, so sometimes I'll slow it down. Make a few there, cut the piece, remove. Now what we're doing is we're taking the piece. We don't need any clamps now because we've got our first line. Now we've got our first line. We're going to lay down a second line right along the first. This is the interior, this is the exterior of the seam. The original line is going to be the inside. We're going to go from the outside. So start slow. Just lay down a little double stitch at the start, and then we're going to speed up a little. Make sure it feeds nicely. Just run right along. Then I slow down towards the end. Just make a nice finish. And cut. So there you have a double stitch like this all the way along, and if we hold it out, we'll see that there's 30 meeting 30, and we'll continue to go along here. As the piece gets bigger and more together, you have to make sure that you've got a nice smooth line. So the rest of the piece you're going to lay over here, and eventually it's going to get quite big. I'll walk this back to where the seam ends. So now we've got another piece lined up. So this is going to be 3 together when we're done, and there's the other 2 that will make one of the pentagons. So let's do it. So now notice more pieces are coming together. Very important that the dots are lined up precisely at the end. These are fixed points. See that? Dot, dot. Kissing. Nice clamp. Then I go to the other end, dot, dot, kissing. Then I try to get it in line along the piece. That's looking good. They're kissing. Yes. Clamp it. Hard. Try to pick the midpoint. Use your hands to line up the seams. That's there. That looks pretty good. Not to over belabor the point, but it's very important that we get these dots lined up because they are fixed points at the end. So see, I've got the dots lined up perfectly right over each other. That's going to make for a nice symmetric piece. If I hang it, it should hang without a lot of gaps. So then I'll pick a midpoint, put down a third clamp, like that. That's not quite even as far as the line, so I use my hands to adjust, trying to get the seam correct. Looks about right. That's better. Then I'll use my safety pins. That's on target and in line, so that is correct. Then I'll go with this piece. Use my hands first to try to have a sense of where both sides meet in line, and then I'll use the safety pin. Looking at this side, we're a little bit off, so we'll take that out. That's correct. It's looking better. That's good enough. And we'll lay another one down. So now you can see here's 18 and 18, that's here. Here's 20 and 20 connected nicely. That's here with piece 33 there. Here's 31 and 31. That's these. 33, 32, everything's looking good. Face 30 and 30 meeting. 32 and 16, and finally face 17, 17, 16, and 3. So everything checks out. So that is one pentagon of a cover. And so we've got all these other parts to connect above the horizon, these pieces that I've numbered. So this is what it takes to make the cover. If you like to sew and you find this an appealing challenge, these are going to last for 10 years plus, I think, in the sun, and they're easy to repair. A really wonderful way to shade a tree nursery. So that's a scale, an actual size piece, and I will demonstrate this to you when I visit you. What I need to do is face the top like that. Red, red, black. See? That's lined up like it should be. So we always have the diagram facing up. Triangles like that.
So this is 3,
That's going to be 3.
17 and 18?
Yeah, it's going to be 17, 18, and 3. Correct.
I had to turn mine a couple.
What we've done here, 17, 18, 3. Does that look right to you?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
It's heavy, I mean, but it's not gonna go anywhere with these things.
Sure.
Oh my, if we're gonna have to match something exactly, maybe somebody,
So that's that one.
Okay.
You do your other end.
Okay.
Then we just hang it and make sure it hangs good.
Right.
Then between there, you could try your Wonder Clip thing,
Okay.
but you're only gonna sew from there. You're not gonna sew all the way
All
to
the way
dot.
up. Gotcha.
'Cause
So
we're gonna
start
end up
basically where the
where the line
where the
ends,
line
yeah.
starts there. Okay.
Exactly.
Just want to double check that we're lined up here.
and you're putting the line on top of the line, right?
Right. So see, basically it's
Find the clippings a little
I'm
better.
off a little bit, but I'm not totally sure that we're ever going to get it completely. Oh,
You're doing the last time.
The sewing part's easy. It's just getting it lined up and things like that. So, and I'll probably
Yes.
check it every once in a while, just see, cause see, you know, it's like it'd be nice if it was on that side,
Right.
so I could see what I was doing.
We'll see when we get to it. I'm gonna make a big seam on the other one.
Are we ready?
Because I can't see the one on the other side.
If we, maybe in the future,
Well, yeah, it's the distance
to-
between, you know, like. Take my pen and my-
off of the thing, like,
I call this side the left side and the right side. So now you're gonna do these two triangles, dump dump, and these two triangles, dump dump, and then you'll have completed the left-sided family of red, red, black triangles. I'm gonna take some. I'm gonna leave some with you. So that's how we clamp it. The idea is just pulling this tight so there's no big slack on the inside. I think is the center, which should be near the 17s. Then I want to get these guys. The line is not quite perfect there.
Yeah,
is it?
well, like I said, if I
Kind
pin
of
it,
putzed out a bit.
I pin it as I go, and that way I know that they're lined up on top of each other.
this is going to be,
Let me see here. I like.
Still here, okay.
Let's
Is that the
walk
one
out
you
here in better
sewed?
light.
Yeah, we're
We're
putting
gonna
it
walk
on.
Okay.
blue, blue. And almost you could take your hand and pretend like I'm grabbing here and I'm grabbing here. Oh, good. I'm grabbing here and I'm grabbing here. Oh, good. I'm grabbing here and I'm grabbing here. Oh, good. Perfect. I'm gonna do one more with you. 5, 44, 45. Draw your 7 like this.
Or the other way.
Your 19 like this, just like the diagram. And
19, was that?
yeah, that's 19.
Oh, okay.
And then 21 is here.
Okay.
If you face the numbers the same way, when the sewer puts them together, they can see like they're facing the same way. It's kind of like, I find it just another reassurance that you're doing it right. I like that you guys preserve this. I am going to join this to.
That is something that Loretta and I.
Sorry, I probably walked off of it. Okay, so is that piece connected yet? Or just got the first line?
I just got the, well, this is,
Yeah.
I got the words.
It should go over there now, I think. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I already put dot.
Okay, got it. Okay, so now we.
Nice. What a machine.
Spool do you use for what?
Or maybe a half, something like that.
Okay.
It's, with these big stitches, you're not connecting too much.
Sure, please do.
Yeah.
Is that the top up there?
Okay, there's the yellow line.
Oh, I need, I
There's
need
the black line.
What I was doing.
And there's the blue line. So this one, this would be yellow, black, this will be 30, that'd be 20, 24, 24, this will be,
Well, you have this one here.
and 22, and- 22 is the blue line.
Perfect. Well done. Kathy, can you explain how you just figured that out? Because you did perfect. And I'm going to give you a few more to do.
I lined it up with the drawing of the colors. I matched the colors. I played Sesame Street.
Beautiful.